Jordan sent me, which, yes, if you do a damage, definitely send it in. Jordan and someone else sent me a photo. It was you. What? A damage that you found. Not one that you created.
No,
Yeah, Brandon, do you remember what it was? You're on the spot. We'll sit here till you get us. Huh?
Oh,
Clean out cap. Yeah. So if you notice the damage, never a bad idea to photo it and send it to me. That way you cannot be held responsible. P for P is now 33%. Boo. Everybody with me, boo. So we're back to 33% months. And going to Christmas light training. The main thing I got out of it, I'm more of the operations side. We definitely learned about the marketing and sales, which I'm sure Brian honed in on. What I got was a couple of tools that are going to make Christmas lights more efficient. One of those being a portable GFCI, keeps from tripping a breaker, so we'll bring it, plug it in their outlet, plug our lights in there while we're installing. Never thought about this, but using a glue gun where applicable, because the hot glue will come right off. Just can't put that on paint or stucco, you'll mess it up. Couple different clips I found that seemed like they're going to be very helpful. Clips that go up the ridge of a roof instead of us sliding them under the shingle, and new clips in general. These clips will go under shingles and on gutters. So if you've done lights with me, you two specifically know that there's we have now gutter clips and shingle clips. We're going to go down to one clip that'll do it all. This will be a big one, a remote control timer. So when we plug our lights in to a timer, while we're installing them, we'll have a remote control. We can cut the power on and off so we don't get shocked if we want to cut a wire. And we don't have to crawl all the way down, over the roof, down the ladder, and back up to plug them in and out. And some safety equipment, basically a ladder that we can take up on the roof, and a Ridge Pro, which is 24 or 36 inches. And it's got what's similar to like felt or couch cushion material on the bottom. You throw it on the roof and you now have a flat platform you can kneel on or stand on. So that's what I got. Our goal, after speaking with Jason, who hosted the training, $70,000 to $100,000 in lights. So that's going to be a lot of installs. We're confident that with marketing and buying, we're going to put a decent investment into it. A bunch of yard signs, magnets for trucks, special shirts that we wear when we're actually installing them that are Christmas themed, not necessarily. They'll have Augusta Lawn Care on there, but they'll be red and green. Maybe have Santa Claus on there, so to kind of get the Christmas spirit. That is our goal for Christmas lights. Before Brian starts talking about Christmas lights, I'm assuming Matt had a good ask this morning. He said, so when is weekly mowing done? It's not unless they ask for it. So we've had a couple customers call the office, get switched to bi-weekly. They thought it just automatically happened. It does not. So if a customer approaches you, I would tell them that, hey, we're going to do this visit today. I'll go ahead and let the office know we'll switch you to bi-weekly. You want to say it that way they don't get you to leave. It's already on your schedule, right? It's easy BHs. We already know mowing's easy this time of the year. We're just going through the details and collecting some debris. So instead of just leaving, I would suggest say, hey, we're going to go ahead and do this visit, Miss Johnson. I'll let the office know right now to get you bi-weekly going forward. And of course, they're just not having that. Hit the skip button, leave a reason why, and I'll switch it to bi-weekly. You want to add the lights?
I was just getting ready in case you asked me a question. But as far as, like the marketing side, the pricing thing and stuff like that. But no, the main thing we're going to do in conjunction with paid ads is signs. So, yep.
What's the realistic time frame for the lights from installation to removal? Is it all through November and through December? What's the target?
So,
like, what do you get out of it?
We're going off what's going on in Louisville, Kentucky, or Midtown, Kentucky. But They install in September. That's how big they've gotten. So they give clients a 10% discount to install in September because they got to get some out of the way. Then Christmas season is October and November. He said early December it's dead. You know, 'cause
By
you
early December,
Yeah.
it's a day no more.
Right. Yeah. People that have already gotten their install probably have it, and for a very basic install, we're thinking $600-800. Should take no longer than an hour to do it, and I don't think someone's going to pay that with there being 2 weeks left. Now, sure, there's going to be the oddball out there that wants lights and gets them late, but October, November is the time.
Right after Halloween, he said all the way up to the first week of December is the hot time when you're doing active ads and you're onboarding all your new stuff. Kind of like the spring rush, you're onboarding all your new mows, then you just mow, right? Well, with this, you've got a very tiny window. Once you build the business like they have, they did $500,000 in Christmas lights last year, and they're going to do about $600 or $700 this year. So they're going to add about $100,000 to $200,000 worth of business. They have to get all the ones the regular book of clients that they've already got done in September, as many as possible in September and through October. That way there's time between Halloween and the first week of December. You only got basically 5-6 weeks to add new customers. So
So for us, October goal is going to be price them at $5-6 a foot. November, when it's not as hot, or the demand is not as hot, then November jump up to $8-10 a foot when it's more in demand.
Now, when you say by the foot, I don't, like, how are you?
Linear foot. So literally, if they get 100 foot of line, $6 a foot, $600.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And the main thing we do, the bread and butter, kind of like our mow, is going to be roof lines, and that's gutters or shingles, just the front line of the actual house. Ridge lines are more expensive, and then you get to doing, what else can you do? Like the peaks. Yeah.
Windows, which I think we're gonna just try and sell just the roof. And another one that we learned there is a stake 3, 5, or 7 inches. Brian might have one.
Yep.
Got it. So this will be very easy. That could be strung along their driveway. It look very good and be stupid easy to install. I mean, you're literally just sticking stakes in the ground with a light through there.
That's it.
That's another thing. We'll offer color combinations too. So
Just to let you know, Jeremy, this is the killer combo that we like this year.
alrighty, we'll get broom trash cans. We'll pre-light a bunch of line and twirl them in there. We'll have drums with the white lights and drums with the colored lights, and just up on the roof they go.
Still haven't ever felt one. Pass them around. Pass them around.
So
Touch the light.
Hopefully this service over the next maybe even next year. This guy went, his trajectory went from like 13 grand to 50 grand to 200 grand a year in lights. So it really scaled fast for him, and we're hoping this will help out in 2 ways: keeping our entire staff all year and actually being profitable during the worst time for lawn care services. So those are Christmas lights. We will be installing them. And there is P4P attached to it. It's actually not a budgeted hour system. You'll just get a percentage of what the entire job is. You'll get a percentage to install them, which is much higher than the percentage to remove them. Because the way they taught us to install them, really the only reason you should get on a roof is if you do the second story. First story, we should be able to just yank them off, which I know you two have seen that. You're able to pull them and they all just come unravel. And surprisingly, you can beat those up, man. You can pull those off of a roof and then slam the ground. They don't break, so they're really durable. Concrete, yeah.
That'll help with soil.
Yeah, you can take them and throw them on the concrete, they just bounce.
Alright, a couple yellow slips, and then CJ's got something to present us. Ricardo, Roberto, and P6. Let me get out of y'all's way.
So, I was at the property, Janae Brown. We had just shows like clients are really watching us. So make sure to spend your time and collect the group.
Some pine cones, a little bit of pine straw.
Yeah, that client, to add to that, we rarely hear from her. So that I've been doing this 7 years. They are seriously watching us. And in August, we had over 500 customers. Now we're down to 490. So just like I was saying, they are slowly coming off the list. And the more we do and show them, the more they'll stay on.
At Estrada, it's an uneven mowing pattern. Push mowing the front yard would prevent that. It is a pretty small front yard, but also if your mower tire is low, it'll cause uneven cuts. So make sure your mower tires are evenly pumped, and or just push the front yard.
Thank you, gentlemen. Robert, what happened? No bueno.
I got Sheriff Barnes, hit a new fence, so the old Nord, I have the old one, and it comes off when you drive or something. So I jerked it, and when it came off, I hit a fence. So I guess just watch out for some reasons.
Yeah, especially with maybe the older mower. Now, I know something like that happened when you were in training. So did Jordan teach you to do that? Okay. Jordan, we'll talk later. But yeah, the new Vertexes, that area per yard you could probably cut with that mower. If you're new to lawn care, the older mowers, which thank goodness we're getting rid of, their controls are not there sometimes like you'd like them to be.
Alright, I have Eric Collins, and I broke that termite bait station, so just gotta watch out for our termite stations. They can easily blend in the grass, so and then when you're right on the mower, just pay attention where you're going.
Yeah, they might be kicking a dead horse here, but the blades create lift. The grass is short, sometimes it'll suck that cap right up. It's best to just swerve around them if you can. Alright, CJ's up, thank you guys.
Anybody else get a chance to read this? No, you-
What's the book?
What?
What's the book?
I mean, I used to get in trouble.
The 16 undeniable laws of communication. Okay. First off, you guys listen to me talk about, what was the other one? Leadership, indispensable.
Did you do the laws or the qualities?
The 21 indispensable
Qualities.
qualities of a leader, this is the 16 laws of communication.
This is the 16 laws of communications. They go hand in hand. Actually, these are like, they kind of encompass the same types of theories and stuff. And it really, if you're going to listen to one and you want to be effective, you should really listen to the other one because they kind of play off of each other. So, just an overview of kind of what the book is about. So they got different chapters and different laws, obviously, and I'm going to go over real quick and just give you an overview of what they actually mean, because you can't just read the top, you can't just read the thing and just know what to expect. So the first one is, law number one is the law of credibility. I kind of touched on it. Now listen, when I talk about myself personally and my experience with communication, typically has to do with me communicating to groups of people in the jiu-jitsu context. That's really where I do a lot of my communication, where I've had time to be in a big group of people and talk about something that I know about. That's really the context. So when I'm talking about this is really for my personal self is in the context of talking about jiu-jitsu, where I'm an expert, I've been doing it for a long time, and I've done many seminars. That's the law of credibility, right? Nobody wants to listen to somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. Okay? Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. So if you don't have any credibility, if you haven't learned, and if you're not an expert at what you're doing, it's going to be really hard to talk about something that you're not an expert in. So the first thing would probably be to try to have an expertise on whatever subject you may be talking about, right? Law of observation is basically you find somebody that's really good at what you're trying to achieve and follow what they do. Try to kind of mimic how they talk and mimic how they communicate with people, right? Brian is somebody who I listen to him communicate in here all the time. I try to mimic in here how he presents himself and the way he talks and the theories that he wants to put out there. I try to follow his game plan. He's an expert here, so if Find your expert in whatever field you're looking to be good at, and that's the one who you're going to follow. Mimic them. Somebody's already done it better before. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Is the best way to describe that. Law of conviction. Whenever I talk about the jiu-jitsu thing, typically people are more interested when I talk about it because I'm very passionate about it. Right? I have an enjoyable, I enjoy it, so when I talk about it, I try to put forth that same type of emotion, like it's an enjoyable thing, and I try to get people excited to do it, right? That's kind of going to help you stay, when you're talking to a group of people respond to that, right? When you have a love or a conviction for something, you find it important, so everybody else is going to feed off of that and probably be able to find it a little bit more important. If you don't care about what you're talking about, it's going to show through when you're communicating with people. Preparation. You ever been in a group of people when somebody's talking and they clearly have not prepared? They have not, they're shooting from the hip, right? That happens a lot. People do it. It's probably not the best way to go about things, right? Shooting from the hip when you're in this setting is not your best bet. Have a game plan. Be prepared for certain questions and look over your information, whatever you're doing beforehand, so you have some sort of on-hand expertise that you just recently looked at, prepared to get inside of this environment, right? Just to come out here and shoot from the hip, it's not a good idea, right? Collaboration, right? If you can find other people to collaborate with that have expertise in another area, and you can feed off that expertise and learn from them, try to give yourself an overall more encompassing knowledge of anything. Like if you find somebody else who you can collaborate with, try to get more information out of them, that's going to be your best bet. Content. I think if I'm not mistaken, the line they used for that was, if you have something important to say, people will listen. You understand? So what the content is and what you're saying, if you have something important to say or knowledgeable about something, most likely people are going to listen. You come into it and you're not talking about anything that you find to be important or any kind of important content, people aren't going to listen to you. Okay? Connecting. Yeah. Connecting with people. Law of connecting. All right? You can't have this type of open conversation. You can't have this type of communicating without responding from the people. It's really, I need a group of people to listen to, or to listen to what I have to say, right? If you're communicating to nobody, you're not getting any information out, right? So, being able to connect with people, right? What I try to do when I connect with people is I'm very self-deprecating whenever I talk, right? I try to make everybody feel comfortable, try to make everybody feel like, especially the jiu-jitsu thing, I try to let everybody know that nobody knows what they're talking about. Everybody's stupid. You don't have to feel bad if you're not an expert. I try to self-deprecate myself, like I'm an idiot, I don't know what I'm talking about, and it makes people feel a little bit more comfortable when they get into that type of scenario, right? You're able to get people on the same level and understand what you're trying to say. If I start talking about what it is to be a millionaire and having a nice a Ferrari or something, like nobody can understand that, right? We're not on the same page there. The leverage thing. This one really was hard for me to figure out. Like, I was kind of trying to figure out what that actually means. Because if you listen to it, they talk about using leverage, but they don't really explain what that means until later on. And what I took it as is that there's a couple different ways that you can communicate, right? I leverage trying to be funny. That's how I try to connect with people. I try to add some sort of humor to what I'm saying. I try to make a joke, or I'll use a swear word or something once, and I try to leverage my ability to make something funny and enjoyable, and that'll help with people listening. Anticipation. Okay, people want to listen to somebody who has something to say. If you have something important to say, people will listen to you. All right, they're anticipating on what you're saying. If they don't care, if they have no care whatsoever of what you're trying to say, they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to be into it. Okay, so you try to have people want to listen to what you have to say. That goes back to some of the other laws of just being an expert at your field. That'll help with that simplicity. Your job as a communicator, especially something like jiu-jitsu, is to take something that's difficult or very, very complicated and make it simple enough for everybody to understand, for the masses to understand. That's really your job as an expert, really. Anytime you're an expert and you have to communicate about something, you need to try to make it as simple as possible for everybody to get an idea of what you have going on. If it's really complicated and you can't explain to somebody in a very simple way that complicated thing, you're never going to get through to people. Okay? Not everybody is an expert. Not everybody's going to be able to look at things as an expert. So you have to be able to explain things to layman people. All right? That's a challenge in itself. Visual expression, right? You can show somebody, or you can tell somebody something, but it's always better to do show and tell, right? It's always better to have something visual to show people, right? So typically when I show moves or something like that, I'll show the move first. Here, this is how it goes, and then I'll show it, and then I'll explain afterwards. It's always better to have some sort of visual thing along with what you have to talk about to help with it, because people respond with visual references better than just speaking to them. Right, so if you have the ability to do that when you're communicating to people, that's going to help you overall, right? Storytelling. Storytelling is important, right? Again, you have to be able to tell a good story that gets people involved, right? And it's not just the story itself, it's the inflection and the way you talk. People drone sometimes. I used to have a teacher that would just drone about things, right? Very monotone. It's very bad storytelling. It would almost put me to sleep, right? That goes into having some sort of about caring about what you have to say in your people recognize that, right? So it's not just about what you're saying; it's how you say it, right? How you tell the story that keeps people involved and keeps people listening. All right. The thermostat. Yeah, you got to be able to judge the room, all right? And it's like you have to be able to judge whether or not people are listening to what you have to say. Maybe you have to speak a little louder, maybe you speed up the pace of what you're saying, but you have to be able to read the room and basically try to figure out how to keep everybody paying attention, enjoying what they have to say, or what you have to say, and really present. The change-up. When you're a communicator or a storyteller, like a Dave Chappelle is like one of the best at the change-up, right? He brings you down one path, and at the end, boom, he brings you to another and tells you something and it's funny, and that's his best skill, right? The change-up. He's able to keep you listening to the story and you're not thinking about something over here and then it comes back later and it's funny, right? If you have a way to create the change-up, right, where you can talk about something here and then you bring it up later, right, and it becomes a point later on, it's just a way to keep people interested, right? It keeps people listening to the story and engaged. Adding value. One of the keys for me is adding value to people's lives, right? Trying to give them something and that they don't know or don't have anywhere else, right? If I can provide some sort of value to somebody with what I'm saying, that's really the key to the communication, right? Adding value to people's lives. People don't listen to something that's not adding value. They don't care, right? If it doesn't apply to them, they don't care about it. If you have no way to add value to their life, they're probably not going to listen to you. And then results. Obviously, like, one of the biggest things about being a leader in here, or being a father, or being a husband, is not to just be and say things, it's to practice what you preach, right? So, most of the time, the best communicators are somebody that have results to back up what they're talking about. You know what I mean? So, that's going to be a big thing. It's like, what are the results of what you're saying? You may be saying all these things, but you haven't been able to accomplish any of those things in your own self. Right? So it'd be a good idea to possibly practice what you preach in your life. Don't just be the one to point over there. That's the goal over there. Let me show you how to get over there. Right? Be the one showing everybody how to do it because you live the life. Don't just talk about it. Be that person. All right? Those are the basic laws of communication. And again, it goes hand in hand with being a leader. Okay? You want to be a good leader, you're going to have to be able to communicate to people. It's uncomfortable for me to be in here to do this, but at the same time, it's part of what we're doing in here, right? It's part of moving up the ladder, being able to talk in front of all of you is part of the game. If you want to get any higher, you got to be able to do not just cut grass, but do this type of thing also. And then last, that has nothing to do with any of this, men. whether you want to believe it or not, you're in competition right now, all the time, with everybody. Okay? When you have opportunity to make something happen in your life, somebody gives you an opportunity, take advantage of it. If you guys aren't taking advantage of anything in your lives, you're just walking the plane. Like, the gun went off already. We're all competing for resources, women, money, all these things, right? And if you're not out there competing with one another, then you're just falling behind, right? Please think about that. You're all very young, okay? Take the opportunities that are given to you and run with them, okay? None of y'all did any of this stuff, okay? You're half my age, all of y'all. You got all the time in the world. I'm sure you don't have families. You don't have other stuff going on. You know, what are you all doing? Somebody pick up the pace a little bit. Chase me, all right? Please.
All right, good job.
job,
Good.
man.
Thank you. All right, one last thing to add. Ms. Johnson comes out. She's like, Jordan, there's just nothing's growing. I don't think I need a mow today. What I would like you to say is try to point out weeds in the beds, debris on the lawn, explain how you're going to edge the beds thoroughly, edge the driveway. And in that scenario, you can discuss not mowing and tell her you're going to blow everything out, blow out her beds. And during August, when it's 99 degrees and the grass is 4 inches tall and Miss Johnson comes out and wants to skip, I could understand where you might say, all right, well, let's see you later. I'll let the office know. But now it's easy as shit, right? There's nothing hardly growing. So use what's going on her property to earn yourself that money, those BHs, because each skip yard is just less money. So.
And let's try. I think I didn't put it up there, but Mike's got a pretty detailed track to try to help out the fourth quarter, so that a lot of people's tracks can be winter services or Christmas lights. Those are the top two right now. Then those are the only two that really make sense to us. You know, there's snow, but I mean, that's a little crazy. So if you can sell snow removal here, you've got a job here for as long as you want it. But so winter services is going to be a big part of ours, and then Christmas lights is going to be the supplemental. Because we already have a decent winter service business. Probably about 40% of our revenue is probably winter services. So what I'm thinking, and I just was listening to this on the way, and I kind of briefly checked it out, is I think we can go aggressive on our winter services instead of just sending out an opt-out letter right before the season's about to end and saying, click this link if you don't want the service. This year, I think we should fight for it and try to sell the service. Me and Jeremy can probably identify the ones that are definitely going to get the service, and we don't have to mess with them because they just run through the program. But the ones that didn't get it last year, or the new people, we can try to sell them before it gets to a point where they say no. So they're already in the system. They've been getting mows. If you come up with somebody that is asking for a skip, I know it gets highlighted on the dispatch board. Maybe Jeremy can just highlight that to me, and we can do an in-house thing of reaching out to them and trying to see if we can sell them an assured winter service so they don't have the chance to say no. So that's just what I was thinking about that.
Good day to have a good day. Let's go.